Welcome to the Dragon Slayer podcast by East Idaho Credit Union. I am Steven. With me, as always, is Bailey. And today's guest, Tiffanie Orr from Sweet Cheeks Waxing and Skincare and University.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have started a sister company at the end of last year to go along with Sweet Cheeks. So thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Thank you for being here. You just jumped right in. I like that. Tell us about Sweet Cheeks and Sweet Cheeks University.
Okay, so my name is Tiffanie. I'm a licensed esthetician and I own Sweet Cheeks Waxing and Skincare. And we're located in Salmon, Idaho, which is about 2.5 hours north of Idaho Falls. So we're a little ways away, but nice little small town.
It's an awesome
Salmon's
place.
Great. Yes.
It's one of my favorite places to go visit. Just to get away. Actually, my wife and I, we did our anniversary there like 2 years ago.
Oh, so beautiful.
It was awesome.
It's a great little escape.
Yeah, I got married during COVID, and so we did a mini honeymoon.
Did you?
Oh,
that's so funny.
That.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Where'd you stay?
What's it called? I'm blanking.
Syringa?
Syringa.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Paula's my friend, and she's a client of ours. So, yeah.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's
Very
amazing.
cool.
It's a great place. It's a cool town.
It is cool.
Okay, keep going.
So, Sweet Cheeks, actually, this month is we're 11 years in business, so we're really excited about that. And we've just slowly grown from just me starting this business to being a solo esthetician to now we're a team of 8 amazing women, which is really cool. And so we specialize in customized facials and then intimate waxing for our clientele. And then we really
Heavens. I'm sorry.
I know. It's one of those things. I know. But it's actually one of our most popular services. And that's kind of how Sweet Cheeks University got started as well. So I also educate other licensed estheticians and beauty professionals on their continuing education, such as Brazilian waxing and other things that you don't really learn in aesthetic school. And so that's what Sweet Cheeks University is about as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool. You're here now, but how did you get here? So let's go back in time for a minute. So you've been around 11 years?
11 years.
Whew,
I know,
okay.
which is dating me a little bit.
See if you can remember this long ago. So what was the motivation to start? How did that happen? Like, what was going on in your life where you said, I think I want to start a business?
So I actually worked as a ward clerk in our local emergency room, and I was going to go to nursing school. So I really love that passion. I'm a natural nurturer by heart. And so I'd worked in the emergency room, had a great job with great pay for a small town Salmon, benefits, all the things. But I worked night shifts, so I worked 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. And I just was getting really burnt out. And if you've ever been in the emergency room, you know that it's got some hard stuff. Like it's emergencies, right?
I've never worked there, but if
you've had to
I've
even
definitely
on the
been
patient
there.
side, yes. So it was really taking its toll. And then I had dropped out of traditional college. And so I had always had this like passion and drive, like I need to do something with my life. This isn't quite it. And so I'd actually found an aesthetics program that was getting started here in Idaho Falls. It was their first one. And the time frame, so you have to be trained 600 hours to take your state boards as a licensed esthetician in Idaho.
I didn't realize that it was that much training.
So it is a lot of training, but they cram it in. So 600 hours equates to about 4 months, give or take.
Okay.
If you're full time.
Then that's like 8 to 5 every day, something like that.
Yes, exactly. So I thought, okay, that's something that I can do. This was prior to me being a mom and starting a family. So I figured I can move away for 4-ish months, get started and have my own career. And I also saw a sweet spot in Salmon because there was nobody else there that was doing what I did at that time.
You like when you even before went to school, you were like, that's the spot. I know exactly what this thing's going to be.
Yes. And it aligned.
Interesting.
I've always been a girly girl. I've always loved to take care of my skin. And I just thought this is like, so really the stars kind of aligned. It worked out. I quit my job, moved down here to Idaho Falls, went to school, met some great people, learned some great things. And in school, I just had this knowing of exactly where I wanted to be and how I wanted to get there. Yeah. I knew that I wanted to go back to Salmon, start my own business, implement some of these services into my community that were not available to women at the time. And yeah, the rest is kind of history.
Were you ever concerned that you were like, maybe is there demand for that in this small town? Or
I wasn't concerned because I had this knowing that this was going to be like gold.
Yeah.
Right. But my
First
family,
of the game.
My family was like, you're doing what? And you're going to do facials. And then, I mean, we didn't even get into like the intimate waxing part of the thing at the time. And then they're like, oh, honey,
no, you can't do
we
that.
We love you, but I really just stuck to my guns and had a very clear vision of how I wanted to execute this business. And it wasn't without hard work and without having to, doing some convincing to my community. It was new, and new things are tough to get across to people. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. So when you were in the emergency room, I'm sorry to go back in time like this.
No, it was a great time.
Were you ever, so you're getting burned out.
Yeah.
Like, put me in the spot in the moment where you were feeling it. Like, were you sitting there, you're on the emergency room floor, you just, I don't know, help somebody get sewed up or whatever it was, and you just thought, it's time to do something different. Like, what was that moment?
I think it was the exhaustion of working nights. That's a lot of it too. So 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. and then you go home and you go to sleep and then you have to do it again. So really on your time off when you work 12-hour shifts, you're really just sleeping and eating and getting ready for your next shift. So it was that, but then it was also the thought of that I was never going to like make any more money. I was never going to excel past my position unless I went to school.
Yeah.
So it was like nursing school, which seemed like a big feat. That was like 2 to 4 years at least. I really didn't want to move away for that long. And then also, I already knew I was burnt out in this atmosphere.
Why double down?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and I have such great love for nurses and medical staff. They work so hard and they don't get paid near enough for what they have to go through. So I just kind of had this feeling like, this isn't it. I need to get myself out of this spot. What can I do? And I really just started researching, came across this skincare program that was brand new to this school in Idaho Falls. And it really just kind of the stars aligned and it fell into place.
That's so interesting. I know like my grandpa's and my dad's like generation, the route is you get a job and you stay there for 50 years. Yes. And that's what you do. And if you don't like it, too bad. That's what you do. Yes. It's what you do. And something happened along the way. And I don't know if it was maybe like Gen Xers or millennials where we started to discover, oh, I can change the game if I want to change the game, right? I don't have to do that thing. It would have been really okay for you to have just done that job forever.
Yes. And I would have done my best at it because that's just how I am. And I would have probably exceeded. And I know I would have been a good nurse because I just have that ability in me to care and love and help heal. And it's funny, a lot of estheticians either come from nursing or they cross paths and they kind of go hand in hand.
And I can see that. Yeah, that's interesting.
But you're totally right. I think the narrative has just changed on you don't have to go to traditional college or you don't have to stick with the same path that you stuck with originally. And I think that's empowering for others to know that it's always okay to change gears.
Right. Yeah.
Especially in business.
Well, you get to write your own story.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's a difficult thing for people to emotionally get to. I watched my stepdad who he kind of put off a lot of stuff that he wanted to do till he retired. And he was very successful. He worked at ExxonMobil. He was a geologist and was really, really successful. And then finally he retired and was like, okay, I'm going to do all these things I want to do. Then he got cancer and he passed. And he never got to do any of the stuff that he put off for his whole life. And it all, like, that just struck me so hard. And I was like, yeah, if you play that game, that's a potential outcome. For sure. And it happens more often than, we probably want to admit.
Sure.
When you could do something really different.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not without saying it's not hard.
It's very difficult. Yeah.
Especially if you your family is, unsupportive or if you don't know a clear path or it's definitely hard to do.
Yeah.
What advice would you give people with having that outside noise from family? Like, I've got this.
I think it's just to stick to your guns. And it's a lot of it is just trusting yourself, trusting your gut and just letting that guide you. And again, like so much of how my business has transgressed, I didn't have a clear path. I didn't know what that outcome was going to look like, but I did have this knowing like, okay, trudge forward. And yeah, I made some mistakes along the way and setbacks and all these things happen, but just trusting yourself and just knowing that you're capable and kind of like just believing in your higher self and helping that guide you as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's such a challenging thing, especially again, it comes back to that generation where it's like your parents are like, this is crazy. Like, why would you ever do something like this?
I'm actually so proud of like younger generations because they've just changed just the thinking and we're doing like good work, and even generations younger than all three of us are doing better work for us for the future past. So it's cool.
I think so too. Yeah. Okay. So you finish school.
Yes.
You head back to Salmon.
Yes.
And what happens?
So then I opened my doors. I got my aesthetics license in early January 2012, and then we opened our doors in April of that same year. So we had to paint and, get some equipment and do all the things that come along with business. And then for 5 steady years, it was just me and just serving the women of my community through facials and all the things that I did. And actually, COVID hit. I was getting burnout again, although I still really loved what I did, and it's so passionate of mine. But I was, there's a big demand for what we give at Sweet Cheeks. And so I was actually having to turn clients away because it was just me. And I was working nights. And then by now I'd had 3 kids, so throw that into the mix and family. And so COVID was actually a great opportunity for me to take a break, take a breather like a lot of businesses did, and then kind of reevaluate about where I wanted my business to go. I knew I wanted to continue to grow and continue to serve and reach beyond Salmon. Like we're 3,500 people.
Right.
And so COVID gave me that opportunity to just like assess. And then I realized that, okay, I can grow my team and it doesn't have to just be me, because I basically got to a point where I was like, that's it. I'm at the top of my game.
You've maxed
it's just
out
me.
What you can do.
There's no more growing. And then I had this epiphany like, well, you can, add some people to your team. And so I brought on 2 other estheticians, both at the same time. And a lot of it was having to release that control of my business.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my baby. Yeah. And that was hard to navigate, but also really good. And then, we've just continued to grow. And then having that team has helped us scale this business, but also has helped me start my other company, Sweet Cheeks University, where I can become an educator for other people like me who need help in our industry. There is a need for it. And so it's been really amazing to grow in that aspect as well.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, there's a lot. I mean, you just covered like 11 years. Yeah, let me go back a little bit. So when you opened your doors initially,
yes,
tons of demand. People were lining up around the block.
Honestly, yes.
Amazing.
I started really with facials and spray tans. That was kind of new on the scene. I know and waxing. And so you could get your brows waxed, you could get a spray tan, or you can come for a relaxing facial. And the demand was great. And it was just great to serve my community. And that's really like every time I get like when this business gets heavy, I come back to that base. Like I'm here to serve, and that's really what I love to do. And so I just find ways to do that.
It's interesting. Yeah. A lot of businesses, they talk about like why they do what they do, as opposed to just what they do.
Yes.
Right. So, you do facials, but you do it because you love to serve the people around you. You like to nurture the people around you.
And I do think it's so important to just, a lot of my why of what I do is to help women feel good about themselves. Like they can buy all of the expensive products, do all of the treatments, do all of the things, but if they're not like happy or healthy or have a clear insight of how to love themselves, it's not going to matter. So much of what we do through Sweet Cheeks is really helping women I always say beauty is an inside job. And so we really try to work from the inside out. And of course, skincare comes along with it. But that's really the basis of my why, is to help women feel beautiful. And I mean, if a woman doesn't feel like good about herself, she's not going to wash her makeup off at the end of the day. She's not going to put sunscreen on and care about not getting a sunburn. So all of those things are kind of secondary to the real basis of working on the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Really
yeah.
good.
I really
Yeah,
like that, actually.
actually.
Okay. So you open the doors and it's going gangbusters, and you've got all these people who want, which is awesome.
Yes.
Right? Want your services. Then you come up against, it's like the classic entrepreneur's problem, which is your own success.
Basically.
Right?
Yes.
Like your own success is making your life really hard.
Really hard.
So the choice to scale is not one, obviously, to be taken lightly. How did you decide, like, hey, we're gonna grow it versus, you know what, maybe we can just be fine here?
You know what's interesting is there was a point where I was going along, and I didn't realize why I wasn't growing, why I wanted to scale. I wanted it so bad, like it hurt, my teeth hurt, but I didn't realize like why.
They make mouth guards for that.
I
sort of
know
thing,
my dentist tells me you need a mouth guard, but I didn't realize that I needed to really work on and perfect the back end of my business, because I think my business took off so quickly and it just was great, and I just kind of went along with emotions that I didn't get clear on all that back end stuff that does matter in a business, like your taxes and your business bank account and your LLC, like all of that stuff, systems and procedures within your business. So when somebody does come in, they know how to do what you do, because like everything was in my head, right? So again, COVID gave me that opportunity to really work on that and look at that and just realize that does matter, because there's another part of me that's just like, yeah, I'll deal with it later. And I know this needs to, it's like, nipping at me. But so I did, once I finally really worked on that is when we started to grow. Of course, right?
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, it just makes sense now looking back. But yeah, so perfecting those back end things. And then we were able to really scale and get to where we are now, which is cool.
Was it difficult for you emotionally to pull yourself out of the day-to-day?
Oh my gosh.
If you're just listening, she had this big grin on her face when I asked that.
I mean, I like to very much white knuckle control things in my life, and it's a fault of mine that I'm still working on. It's a work in progress. It was really hard. And again, going back to like that business is your baby, and letting people in, and also letting people into like, this might not work. And the possibility of failing or falling flat on your face, which happens in business all the time, but just kind of like that, you get self-protective too. Yeah. And so that was really hard to let in. But I mean, I feel very blessed because the team members that I have let in have been wonderful and just have really not only helped me grow, but helped them grow in ways too. And so I'm really grateful.
Yeah. So when you made the decision to, okay, we got to hire a couple of people, what did you look for? Because the first hire is terrifying.
It was, yes.
How did you figure out who that person was? Like, how did that happen?
Well, I mean, I was able to narrow it down pretty quickly because, again, we're a super small town. But then also you have to
Did you know these people before
I
they
did know these people.
Okay,
so I kind of like hunted them a little bit.
Okay, that works.
Because you also have to be licensed to do what we do, right? So that also narrows it down even further. And so there was two girls, and it's Regan and Adrian, and they're both still with me. They're both licensed estheticians. And I reached out to them and I just said, hey, are you looking for a job? Because if you are, I have got work for you. I've got a clientele. I'm willing to help train you. And then so I hired them both at the same time, which was actually easier than hiring one person because having two, you can kind of just like herd them in the right direction together. And those like hard conversations you have to have are a little bit easier when you have two instead of one. Yeah,
because you can split how often you're looking at them when you're talking to them, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not like, and it's also like not one is being singled out.
That's right.
Right? So you kind of group them together. So
you're both awful. Yeah. As opposed to you're awful.
Right. Somehow it seems easier. I don't know how. So they hired on at the same time. And then, And Adrian actually was the first person that I was able to train in intimate waxing. So again, that opened that door for me.
I'm just going to keep
every single time.
Every time. But again, that opened my door to help me realize that I am a good educator in my field, and there's some potential there for me.
Interesting.
So yeah, that was really cool as well.
How interesting. So by scaling, you unlocked a talent that you didn't even know that you had.
Didn't even know.
How interesting.
Yeah, which was really cool.
Which is how you spun off this sister business.
Yeah.
Interesting.
University, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit more then. So now we've scaled and you've got a couple of employees. You're up to 8 right now,
We're up to
right?
8, and some are virtual, but so there's 3 of us that are licensed estheticians, and then we've got some assistants and a virtual assistant and a marketing director and, you know, all those things that help a business grow and go. And
yeah.
Yes.
So you discover along the way, you're like, oh, actually, I'm pretty good at teaching people.
Yeah.
How did you make the decision of like, I think there's a business in this?
Do you know, so I knew there was a need for it.
Yeah.
From the get-go, because when I went to aesthetic school, I actually was not trained on intimate waxing either, and that was 11 years ago. And then Adrian comes out of aesthetic school, and she went to a different school in Boise a few years ago. And again, she's like, I can do it all, but I don't know how to do that. And so I just thought, man, nothing's changed in like 9+ years. We've got to change the narrative for this, because it is a service that is highly requested in our industry, and it's not going away, and it's a quick way to retain your clients so they come back every single month and to make quick, easy money. So all along I did know. And then after training Adrian, that's when it really unlocked that, like, okay, I've perfected my system so well that I can get a Brazilian wax client in and out my door in 15 minutes and make $60+, which is quick.
Yeah.
And also it's like, there's so much that comes along with intimate waxing, right? It's a painful service. It's an intimate service. And it's
Sounds
like a
great.
technical...
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's a technical process where what could go wrong? Pain and embarrassment and, you know,
I just have
sticky wax.
I'm trying to keep all the jokes back. It's so hard right now, guys.
It's
so
trust
difficult.
me, I've heard that.
I know you have.
But so yeah, there are so many things can go wrong, but so many things, if you know what you're doing and if you're confident bringing that to the literal table, then so many things can go right and you can have a great revenue from it. So, and then again, like another side of that is so many clientele have come in that have been waxed elsewhere and have had horrible experiences. And I want to change that too.
Yeah.
And so I really am passionate about just educating on intimate waxing and helping other estheticians do a good service.
Well, I can imagine that like once you find somebody you're comfortable with, you're like,
yeah,
you're not out like shopping around on those really.
No, it's like your hair girl, right? Like once you find your good hair girl, you trust her and you're basically with her until she moves or retires.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think you bring up an interesting point though, just from a business perspective. You weren't trained on this necessarily, but you figured out how to do it and it's become a pretty important core part of your business.
Yes.
Every business needs their thing that they're really, really good at. That's kind of unique to them.
Yes.
And it sounds like this is probably one, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like every business needs to have that.
For sure.
And I think a lot of businesses, they want to maybe do too much.
Yeah.
They want to try and like branch out to a million different things instead of just being like, look, this is our bread and butter and we're really good at it. And that's why you come here. And if you want some of these other things, that's good too. But yeah.
So that's like I had referenced before, making some mistakes along the way. That would probably be one of mine is trying to do all the things. So I used to do lash extensions when it was just me. I didn't like doing lash extensions. They were time consuming and meticulous. And, but I did them because I had this clientele that wanted them and continued to want them. So, but once I like realized like, okay, let's niche down, do what I like to do for one, and then do what I'm really good at.
Right. Yeah.
And then that's again how I think my business continued to grow.
I think you're right.
I was getting rid of that stuff that I didn't like to do. My passion wasn't in it. And so if I had advice for businesses in that aspect, especially beauty professionals, like niche down. It will help you for sure. You can't serve them all. So
I think that's the hard thing is like having to turn somebody away.
Yeah.
And knowing that they'll pay you to do something
Yes.
and say, that's not us. That's so painful for people.
It's so hard because you're letting your clients down, and then
I know.
it feels in a way you're letting yourself down because you're like refusing to do something that you implemented and probably spent time and resources and money on implementing it. So it is hard to make that decision to let things go. But I will say, like, I know I was happier when I let some of the stuff go. I didn't stress about it or worry about it anymore. And if hard conversations are difficult with your clients and in business in general too. So, but again, like the more you have them and the more they come up, the easier they get.
Yeah, sure.
I used to fear them a lot.
Yeah.
And then I just think, we got to talk about this.
Yeah. I think people are more understanding than we think they are in our heads a lot of time. Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah. Okay. So going through that whole experience where you start the business, you figure out like what your product lineup is, you scale, you grow. What are the big takeaways? What are the big moments where you were like, I was ready to shut this thing down, but you pushed through and you overcame? And what are the lessons learned out of that?
I think another aspect in the middle of that 11 years is when I realized that, so I didn't initially have product available for purchase.
Oh, okay.
And
just services.
It was just services.
Yeah.
And then I realized, like, I am not setting up my clients for success at
Right.
home.
Yeah.
I mean, I can do an amazing facial and then send them home to use, a bar soap or whatever, because we're not even talking about it.
We were talking about this before.
It's okay if you do.
I was like, she's going to call you out about your bar soap. This came up on our last podcast.
It did actually, yeah.
At least you're washing your face.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Most of the time.
Okay. But I obviously shooting myself in the foot by not having product to retail to my clients, but also more so, I was not setting my clients up for success.
Great point.
And so I had that epiphany as well along the way, like, let's get some product in here. And then, because there's also that, like, I don't want to be too salesy. I don't want to push product on people. But when I always like switch that narrative and then helped my team switch that narrative too when they get stressed about retail, is that you are serving them and you want to serve them in the best way you can. Mm-hmm. Recommending a good facial cleanser instead of a bar of soap is serving them.
Yeah, good point. Well, it's kind of funny you mentioned that because like I get my hair cut every 3 weeks or so, something like that. And I go and I sit in the barber shop and they actually have a shelf full of products that I would presume are for sale. They've never once said a single word to me about the stuff on that shelf.
Which is so interesting. And they probably won't unless you ask.
Yeah.
Which, again, like, why are they not? Like,
I don't know.
Steve, you could really use this.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
I don't know what either. I don't know what's on there. Yeah.
But this would make your hair look really, really good.
And
or it would stretch your haircut or whatever.
It's funny because I while I'm getting my haircut, I spend time looking over there at that shelf and I think maybe I want something there, but I don't know what it is.
Oh, you got to have it.
Yeah. Are you ever going to ask?
Probably not.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it is fair enough.
Well, I think there's the point though, right? Is that sometimes your customers, they don't really know. Like, I'm not nearly well-versed enough to tell you, like, this is the right product for my hair, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how I became a grown man without knowing any of this information, but I did.
It's a man thing.
I think so, actually. But I would actually really appreciate somebody being like, hey, do this. These are good ideas for you.
Basically, they could take the work out of it for you, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like,
because they know.
They know exactly what you need.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, and sometimes you feel stupid because you're like, I should know this thing, so I might sound stupid if I ask.
Yeah.
So you just want that information volunteered.
Yeah, I like that perspective as well. Because, especially if you've been coming to your stylist or whoever for so long and they assume you know. Yeah. But then,
And that's the thing. I've been going long enough now that it's like, I can't ask now. Right? We're too deep into this.
Too deep into this.
It's like going when you're like flying on a plane and you sit down and you have like 90 seconds to start a conversation. And if you don't in that 90 seconds,
There's
you
a
ride in
window.
silence the whole time.
The whole
right?
time.
Isn't that so weird?
You can't like start talking an hour in.
No, that's weird. Yeah, that's so bizarre. So you have to start right away. Otherwise, it's no good. Do you have many men come in?
I mean, we do. Our percentage is primarily women.
I would expect so.
But for sure. And again, in a small town, there's like, I mean,
are they like wearing a disguise when they go in?
Yeah, or sneaking them in. But most of the men that come, their wife or their girlfriend or whoever is making their appointment and letting them know when their appointment is. It's so funny. Men walk into our door. We have a pink door. Yeah. And it's very girly in our shop. And they walk in for a gift certificate or something for their wife. And they're just so physically uncomfortable. It's so funny. But we love to treat men too because men have skin too. And
we do. Yeah.
And I mean, a facial feels really good.
I've never had one before.
Life is too short to never have a facial.
Next time I'm in Salmon.
You should come see us for sure. Yes.
Will.
Yeah. You and your wife both will treat you both.
What does a man like? What does a man do?
So honestly,
I realize that's a ridiculous question.
It's not. Our most popular service for men is a nose wax or nostril wax.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could probably use that.
Yeah. And it's hard to talk them into it because the thought of waxing it, or when
is it pain? It's painful.
It's nothing like when you catch a single nose hair.
Because I've pulled a nose hair and it's
that's
not
like
good.
Brings you to your knees, right? Yeah. Have you ever had your nose waxed?
No.
Oh my gosh, you can like breathe so much easier.
Really?
Yeah. And it's quick and it's like I won't say it's painless. It's way less than having your eyebrows waxed.
Oh.
Okay.
I mean, it's nothing compared to eyebrows.
That's solid.
And it feels kind of shocking because
it feels like the equivalent of an Intimate Max wax for a man.
Nothing is close to that, no. But it really does. And we only remove the hair like at the base of the nostril. My husband has never done it. And he's always like, you need those hairs in there to filter all the dust.
Well, that's what I thought too.
Yeah. And I'm like, we're just taking out the ones that are sticking out
that
need to go. Yeah.
Those aren't doing you any good anyhow.
But we do facials and eyebrow waxes and a lot of back waxes for men, especially that go on vacation.
Yeah. Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That I don't know why that made me feel a little depressed to hear you say that, but yeah, okay.
Those are really fun. Waxing is very satisfying because it's a very quick return rate on your service, right? Whereas a facial, you got to put in the work. They got to go home and do the work at home. But waxing is very instant.
Yeah. A little too instant,
yeah.
maybe. Yeah, interesting. So with the waxing, do you find that men are bigger babies?
Oh, yes.
Makes sense.
Oh, my gosh. There's a reason women have the babies.
Yeah.
Our race would be, or human race would be extinct. But, I mean, men are so tough in so many ways.
That's just not one of them.
It's just not one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Again, we don't do a whole lot of waxing on men. I think for that.
Maybe for that exact reason, yes, because we're kind of wimpy about it.
Yeah.
So, so distill down the last 11 years to the pieces of advice that you would give to an entrepreneur who's maybe just getting started.
At East Idaho Credit Union, we offer startup loans for emerging businesses to help support you in the early stages of growth. This could be for inventory, equipment, or other operating expenses. Almost all businesses qualify. Get started today by visiting us at eastidahocu.org/start, federally insured by the NCUA.
Distill down the last 11 years to the pieces of advice that you would give to an entrepreneur who's maybe just getting started.
I think to just, again, trust your gut, trust yourself, be okay with being new and new in whatever aspect your business is to be okay with not knowing it all and not coming in with like this chip on your shoulder where I know it all and I'm not going to make mistakes. So that's another one is just be okay with like growing and being new. And then again, to continue to invest somehow, not money, but invest time and energy and your resources back into your business. Like continue to learn and grow. Continuing education is so important, especially in our industry. It's hard not to industry down on this one, but I mean, I feel like when you feel like you've made it and there's no more room for you to grow is when you start to become stuck, stagnant, or you're not growing anymore. So that's a good sign.
I think it's great advice for any industry, right?
For sure.
Like, don't ever be satisfied with where you're at.
Yeah. There's always room to grow. There's always another like glass ceiling to break through. Even when you think you're at the top of your game, there's like this whole other world where your mind opens up and you realize like, oh, okay, we can still grow. We're still in this. And that would be my best advice.
That's pretty good.
That is good.
So what's next? What's coming for you guys?
So actually we're expanding in June. I'm so excited. So Sweet Cheeks is a 2-room, like we have a front room with all of our retail and our reception. And then we have one treatment room that 3 of us estheticians share.
I bet that gets crowded.
It gets a little crowded.
You get like 3 waxes happening at the same time in there.
We just have to have our system very well oiled to not overbook. So actually we're expanding into the suite next to us and we're going to knock a wall out.
Oh my goodness.
We're going to have another treatment room and
Very
a really
exciting.
big, so I'm really excited for that. And the team is excited and I've told them like, it's going to be a process. Obviously we're going to have some construction, but well, you guys know. Our building's under construction.
We just walked through this branch that's half torn apart right now. Yeah.
But like the vision on the other side is going to be so good. And so that's where we're at. And then I would love to just connect with more estheticians and beauty professionals here in Eastern Idaho who would like to continue their education and get really good at their skills. And so that's kind of where I'm at.
That's great.
Yeah.
Has anybody helped you along the way? Helped teach you, mentor you?
Oh, so many people.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
My sister-in-law, I refer to her as my business bestie, and she has a completely different industry than I do, but we've definitely helped each other along the way in our businesses, growing them, and then also through motherhood as well. That's been important.
That?
It's China
from
Little Mama
so
Shirt Shop. I know I'm
Little
name
Mama Shirt
dropping
Shop.
here.
No, that's okay. Yeah, we love China. Yeah, that's great.
So China and I are sister-in-laws actually, so we get together with our kids a lot and then talk business on the side. And then also my Eminence organic skincare rep, Jessica. She's our regional rep in Idaho and Utah. And she's been a wonderful mentor for me too. And so I have just these few little people in my pocket that I lean on throughout the way. And it's really important to have that person in your life. I feel like business can be very lonely and it can be hard to like navigate what to do and where to go. And so if you are in business and if you don't have somebody that you can lean on, I highly recommend to find that person.
Yeah.
For sure.
How do you find them? Where are those people at?
Under rocks. No, just kidding. I think it's just important to like put yourself out there. Like I have a lot of people that I connect with that I've never met in real life, but social media is great for that, right?
Yep.
And just like not being shy and just asking like, hey, do you want to like hop on a call or message back and forth? Or I've gotten better about like asking, do you want to go to lunch and talk? And it's just like an easy way. And that gets easier too. I'm definitely like an extroverted introvert. And I used to be so painfully shy as a kid. So I'm very proud of myself that I've come so far that I can ask somebody to lunch.
Yeah.
And I've always said too, like, you're obviously, if you have a partner, that's wonderful and you can lean on them, but they don't have to be your business bestie in that aspect too. Like they could be separate from your business, but still, fulfill you in other ways and support you through it, but they don't have to be that person. So that's something too.
Yeah, that's great. Have you considered more locations?
I have actually.
Yeah, tell us about that.
So have you ever been to Chalice?
I have lots of times. Yeah.
So Chalice is definitely on my radar, and so is Darby, Montana. Have you been through Darby?
Oh, I haven't been there before. No.
Oh, so if you keep going north of Salmon and then like head towards Missoula, past Lost Trail Ski Mountain, it drops down into Darby, and Darby's even smaller than Salmon. Beautiful little town though, and so those two are on my radar for locations because they're different locations, but I feel like they're within my reach.
They're close. Still.
They're close.
Yeah.
They would be manageable.
I think, what is Chalice? Like an hour?
It's about an hour.
From Salmon?
50, like a little under 60 miles up the windy river road.
And there's a lot of overlap in those communities too.
There is. We do see a lot of clients from Chalice that come up to see
I
us.
bet you do.
But it would be nice to be able to serve them there because again, I see a golden nugget there because there's nobody there right now. And then Darby does have one, but I think their business model is a little bit different than ours. So I kind of see I can see some potential in either one.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's
very
awesome.
exciting.
Yeah, that's cool.
You've done really well on social media, and I love to pick people's brains about this because everyone wants to grow their social pages in business.
Sure.
What advice would you give people for social media?
Stay consistent and to not worry about your follower count.
Mm.
For sure, that's hard to get hung up
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
because you see other accounts, and to not do the comparison game. So I would say those three. Like, you got to show up consistently and show up authentically.
Mhm.
And so if you're like trying to shadow somebody else and how they do business, it's not going to work. It's not going to come through. Getting stuck on your follower count is also like, it really doesn't matter. If you're serving your ideal client and you have 500 followers and those followers are all your ideal client, that's great. Versus if you've got 50,000 followers and you've only got like 50 ideal clients, and that big, it's not going to do you any good in business, and it's not going to turn into revenue for your business.
Right.
And then again, just stay consistent and authentic, and to, again, this is where I come back to is one of our base core values through Sweet Cheeks is to educate. We like to educate our clients and whoever we can reach on how to care for their skin better, how to do self-care acts and all that. And so it's a chance for us to serve through social media, which is really cool that we can do that in a free platform.
Yeah.
And reach a lot of people at once.
Well, I think it's important to provide value to people.
Yeah.
Even if they don't come into your shop,
For
right?
sure.
It's important
Totally.
to do that. Yeah.
Tell us about prom.
Oh my gosh. So Sweet Cheeks Prom is this
Oh.
Friday.
What is this?
This is a ladies only prom.
What?
I know.
Why is it
it's
always
so
this
exciting.
way?
I
There's
know.
always like these. We have guests on, and they're like, "There's this awesome event." I'm like, "That sounds great," and they're like, "It's kind of ladies only."
You
I'm
can't
like,
come.
Okay, well, all right.
So
I
Sweet
guess
Cheeks
let's
Prom-
hear about it.
I know.
Yeah.
It's still going to be really fun. Last year, we started Sweet Cheeks Prom as a way to celebrate our 10-year anniversary. And
Mm.
I love to personally dance. And I feel like there's so much just healing and energy that comes with dancing. And you think back to like high school prom, and either people had a great experience or they didn't go and had a terrible experience. And so I thought, like, I want to do a prom. I love to dress up too. And as adults, like, we don't have those opportunities to really dress up.
Yeah, not a lot.
No. And so I thought, let's do a prom to celebrate 10-year anniversary. And it really turned out to be such a great success. And we also, part of our proceeds last year went to victims of sexual assault in our community through the Mahoney House. And so it really turned into a bigger thing than I expected it to be. And then the demand was like, well, this has to be a yearly thing. So we're doing it again. And it was so fun. And so our Sweet Cheeks Prom is this Friday, and you can dress up, and you don't have to dress up. That was kind of a deterrent for some people who don't love to dress up. So we had women there in jeans, and it was great. I was just so happy that they came to dance, and we have a DJ and food and drinks. And
Where did you do that?
so last year we did it at the Salmon Grange Hall.
Okay.
And then we were actually at max capacity last year, so we had to find a bigger venue. So we're doing it at the McNutt building on Main Street. It used to be in the McPherson's building.
No, okay.
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
upstairs, and it's actually in an old dance hall.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a
great.
really old building, and it's really cool. And you walk up this grand staircase, and we're going to have a pink carpet. I mean, we really are like want to go out and make our guests feel special. They're dressing up, and they're coming just to have fun without all of the I hate to say it, but negativity that came with high school prom, right? Like the drama with boys or not being
no
confident
boys
in
allowed.
yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we kind of discussed, like, should we invite men in our lives to come? And then I just thought, they can stay home with the kids. We love our men in our lives.
I bet they're fine with it.
They
too.
probably are,
Yeah,
actually.
they're just like,
they
great.
don't have to dress up.
That's right.
They don't
yeah.
have to socialize, and they don't have to dance.
They don't have to dance.
Exactly. So yeah, that's this Friday, and we're really excited about it. And then this year we are doing, our proceeds are going towards our Sweet Cheeks Esthetician Scholarship for local graduates from
so great.
Blood Orange, Chalice, and Salmon who want to pursue a career in aesthetics.
I love that.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really
We're
good.
excited.
Very cool.
Is that part of like a future recruiting strategy?
Well, I mean, a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
It's a good one. I like it.
I'm always like looking at that angle, not to just like, how can I benefit from it? But I see more and more girls from our community going to aesthetic school.
Mhm.
And I know that a portion of them are going to move home eventually, right?
Yeah, of course.
And we're expanding. We're having another treatment room put in. And so why not? Why
Very
not support
exciting.
them through their
I agree.
education, and then
Yeah,
if
if
something
you-
comes of it, great.
Yeah, if you can give back and then that ultimately is good for you, then that's awesome,
Yeah.
right? Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
What else, Bailey?
We've talked a lot on this podcast about like balance, and it doesn't exist. But like as a
Yeah.
mom, how do you find the balance, or what do you do? At East Idaho Credit Union, we're changing the future of business with our Velocity Money Market account. You can receive unbeatable returns on tiered interest rates. We have rates up to 2.02% annual percentage yield. East Idaho Credit Union puts local businesses first because when you do better, we all do better. Federally insured by the NCUA. We've talked a lot on this podcast about like balance, and it doesn't exist. But like as a mom, how do you find the balance, or what do you do?
You know, I think I'm really grateful because I also have a really strong team of family supporters behind me, and I would not be able to do what I do without them. My husband and my mother-in-law and my mom and my sister, and so without that, I wouldn't have been able, because I had 3 babies in 4 years, and that was like really quick, and I had whiplash from it, and then still trying to grow this business. So I think it comes back to like, because I know a lot of people don't live near family or don't have that option to lean on their family, but there are people who you can bring into your family or your small little community and lean on. There's good people out there that will help support you through that. And that's just a way that you can do that. And then I think too, is taking time to recognize that you as a mom or you as a business owner need time for yourself and to like put back into your own bank and fill your own cup, and however that looks for you. And I think the more we talk about it and the more we acknowledge that there is a need for that, because even motherhood alone can be lonely and can feel hard and heavy at times.
Yeah.
And so that's something that's just important. And again, that's something that we try to instill in our clients at Sweet Cheeks, that like this is your time, and we want them when they walk through our door for it to be all about them. And we put 110% of our energy into them while they're with us, in hopes that they can take that home and carry that back into their daily lives, and it can help impact them positively.
It's great.
Very good.
Yeah.
What's your message to the world?
That beauty really is an inside job, and really to have great skin, you got to wash your face before you go to bed, whether you wear makeup or not. That really is a like beginning fundamental.
You can't make me do it. Okay?
I can't make you, but yeah, if you can get the day off your face, you can take so much off your shoulders from the day. And again, that's whether you wear makeup or not. You still need to wash your face before you go to bed. If you wash your face twice in a row, that's even better.
In a row?
In a row. That's called double cleansing.
What is that? Explain that to me.
Okay, so
that seems crazy, by the way.
I know. If you're not washing your face at all, you got to wash it twice.
Usually.
But actually, it's called the double cleansing concept. So your first cleanse removes, say, your makeup or your sunscreen or your sweat and dirt and oils that you accumulate throughout the day. So this applies to men too,
Sure.
if you don't wear makeup. And then your second cleanse, you actually get to clean your skin because you have that layer taken off. So it's especially important if you wear makeup, because if really you're just smearing that makeup around in your first cleanse, doing a rinse, and then you still got that residual debris on your skin. So the first cleanse takes a day off. The second cleanse washes your face and cleans your skin.
I've never guessed. Yeah.
I know.
Okay.
So much to this.
They don't teach you any of this in school.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But that's another thing too that I'm proud of our younger generation, like Gen Z, is all these like young adolescents have great skin, because skincare is a thing now. It wasn't a thing when I was growing up. It was really just like strip your skin to nothing, never moisturize it, scrub it raw, and call it good.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No.
Please keep going.
That's good. But yeah, that's my message. Beauty is an inside job, and wash your face before you go to bed.
I like it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Your recommended products.
So I have some cult favorites. So we carry Eminence Organic Skincare and herbal skin solutions, and then Jane Iredale Cosmetics. Those are our 3 main ones that we do. So Jane Iredale, if you haven't heard of that makeup line, it's known as a skincare makeup. So it's very skin friendly. And then Eminence is amazing. So the Stone Crop Cleansing Oil, that is my number 1 favorite must-have recommendation. And that's actually our best-selling product at Sweet Cheeks as well. And then facial recovery oil is another one that's known as liquid gold. So it's great for all skin types. You can heal acne with it. You can repair your skin barrier. There's so much that it does. There's just really nothing that it doesn't do. So those are my 2 must-haves. But
very cool.
Yeah.
So should you remove makeup before you wash your face or just do it all at once?
So the Stone Crop Cleansing Oil, that's known as your pre-cleanser. I actually brought you a bottle. I'm so sorry. I know.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
I know. Haley's going to have to share with you so you can at least try it out.
All right, okay.
That was really rude of me to only bring 1 bottle.
You probably need it more than me.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
So it's a cleansing oil. So oil attracts oil. So oil is also such a scary word for a lot of people, especially if you're acne prone or if you're oily. You're like, I'm not putting oil on my skin. I'm already oily. There's no way in heck that I'm doing that. So that's something that we, again, have to educate. But it's the oil. You start with dry hands and you apply it to dry skin, and it really just melts your makeup away, pulls it away from the surface of your skin. You rinse it, and then you can go in with your regular cleanser and then really work that skin and get it clean.
Awesome.
Does that answer your question?
Totally.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you think of any funny stories yet?
I mean, yeah, I actually will go back to aesthetic school. When I was in aesthetic school doing my first Brazilian wax, and I can laugh about it now. I don't know if the poor woman that I was waxing can. She was 9 months pregnant.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
She was so pregnant, and it was my very first time like by myself doing the wax. And again, reminder, we did not have proper training numbers in waxing. So basically it was like we watched our instructor do one and then, okay, you're good to go. Go take care of your own clients.
I'm feeling lightheaded.
She was so pregnant. And she obviously wanted to have a wax before she had her baby, which was, great. And when you're pregnant, you've got so much more blood flow through your body, right? And you've got swelling and you've got all the things that come along with pregnancy. I know, Steve, you're going to get green over here. And it was such a horrible experience for her and I. So horrible. I was nervous anyways. I didn't know what I was doing. She was so kind and so patient with me, but it was horrible. And then I had to go get my instructor, and it was just, and I know she was mortified and it was so painful for her. And so I don't know. I don't even remember what her name was. This was like 12 years ago now. If you're listening, I'm so sorry. I think about you often. I will make it up to you. I will give you free waxes for the rest of your life if I could connect with you. It's not necessarily funny, but it's a little horrifying.
Well, it's something. Yeah.
And you were probably just helping prepare her a little bit for labor,
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the poor thing, though, was about to go through one of the most painful things that wasn't necessarily necessary, but yes. I'm sure she thinks of me too. It was that bad, but not in a good way. I would love to make it up to that woman. I don't know who she is.
I guess, so they probably go and get it for like next to nothing, right? Like it's pretty cheap to go and do it when you're still in school.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. She did open herself up to having that service done by a student.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is that.
I remember when I was a kid, my mom would take us to get our haircut occasionally at the like barber school and it was always, always bad. Yeah. Well, what always happened, and it was like $2 or something.
Yeah.
It was like nothing. And what would always happen, I remember this one time, and it was like this basically every time, but we went and I got my hair cut, and I have dark hair, right? And my mom looked at me. She goes, "You look like Spock." And we went home and she shaved my head.
Oh, no.
Oh my goodness.
And that some version of that happened like every time we went. And I was like, and I was adults. I'm like, "Mom, why didn't you just cut her hair at home if it was such a thing?" She's like, "I just always was hopeful that it would be better. It never was."
Giving them a chance every time.
That's pretty funny.
That's bad.
Oh, goodness.
I like the fun questions. If you could have lunch with any historical figure, who would it be?
Oh, that's a hard one to narrow down. Probably, I don't know. Honestly, probably Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's an
We
interesting
have a
one.
big picture of her on our wall in our treatment room, and I just love her, and I would love to know, like, her story, and I'm sure there's so much more to her than what was shared with the media in her career, and so yeah, I'd love to pick her brain.
It's a good one.
That's an interesting one. I heard that now that I'm about to say this out loud, I'm like, did I hear this? Or was this like a dream that I had one time or something? That she had like some fuzz on her face, like not like a beard,
Yeah.
but like some really fine hair on her face.
No, I'm sure she did.
Yeah.
And did you read they had to shave it?
No, I guess they used to. And then she was like, no, I like it because it gives me, like, on camera, like a kind of glowy quality.
Oh, I could see that.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I could have made that up, so don't take that as fact.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Did you know that that's like a thing for like all women?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been
It's
around
called
women. I know
dermaplane.
this.
We have that service, and I also teach that, I teach that method. It's called dermaplane.
Dermaplane.
Yeah, so you take a sterile scalpel. I know it sounds scary.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And you scrape the surface of the skin. So actually the hair removal is called vellus hair. It's your peach fuzz. It's just a benefit. So what it's actually doing is removing that top layer of dead skin cells. So it's one of the deepest forms of exfoliation with no downtime.
Huh.
Yeah, but that process takes off that peach fuzz and your skin feels like butter.
Huh. Interesting.
Okay, what are your opinions on people who do that at home?
You can do it at home?
You can.
Yes.
You totally can.
How's it different than just shaving?
Well, it's not.
It's kind of the same thing.
It's basically, yeah. They're called like tinkle razors, right? I think it's a fine thing to get by in a pinch, but you're not going to actually get the skincare benefits from it. You're going to take off that peach fuzz for sure because they have like a guard on them. But if you want like those skincare benefits, then I would get a dermaplane treatment for sure.
Dang, she's selling me. I'm going to drive to Salmon for everything.
You should just have to come see me.
Tiffanie, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. It was all super interesting, and I think that'll be really, really helpful for a lot of entrepreneurs and any kind of budding estheticians as well. So some interesting info there. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. And again, I'm so grateful that you both agreed to have me come, and it feels good to be here and to spread what I have to share.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on the Dragon Slayer podcast by East Idaho Credit Union. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.